Now, why would Pantone choose white as color of the year for 2026? Some people say it's a slap in the face. Some people say it's a welcome palate cleanser. Well, if you haven't heard, Pantone chose its 2026 color of the year, and it's Cloud Dancer. To describe it, it's a pale, soft, almost white beige. And here's the thing, if you know anything about color theory and consumer psychology, that choice should tell you everything you need to know about where this economy is heading. Pantone doesn't just pick pretty colors. They're forecasting consumer behavior, market sentiment, and yes, shifts in the economy. So today, I'm doing something really interesting. I'm breaking down fashion trends as economic indicators. We're going to start with Cloud Dancer, and then we're going to talk about some of the latest fashion trends, like the quarter zip trend, women in suits, monochromatic dressing, and what this sort of progression from athleisure to quiet luxury to maximalism, and now this is going to tell us about 2026 and beyond. Let's take a step back. What is Cloud Dancer? It really is a soft, pale whisper of a color. It's not quite white, not quite beige, not quite cream. What it is safe. Pantone describes it as a breath of fresh air and a canvas for creativity. But here's what they're not saying. It's a recession color. Let me give you a little bit of a historical context on some of the colors that Pantone chose in past economic moments. In 2008, during the financial crisis, Pantone chose a color called Blue Iris. The reason why they chose that color was because they said it was calming. It was peaceful. As we know, in 2008, that was at the peak of the housing crisis. Pantone basically picked a color that says, stay calm, everything's going to be okay. Let's go to 2016, another time of economic unrest. The color of the year for 2016 was Rose Quartz and Serenity. What was interesting about that was that it was two colors, and they were both very soft, very pale, very gentle, and very pastel. What was happening in the economy at that time was we had Brexit, we had election uncertainty, and we had market volatility. Pantone picked gentle colors during a time of turbulence. Pantone's color of the year for 2020 was Classic Blue. Classic Blue signals stability, trustworthiness, and again, calm. We all know what the economic climate was there. It was literally a global shutdown and economic collapse worldwide. Pantone tried to choose the most reassuring color possible. Fast forward a few years later, in 2023, Pantone's color of the year was Viva Magenta. It was bold, loud, rebellious. The economic climate during that time was inflation was still really high, but people were spending. They were tired of staying in the house and they decided to spend some money. And the message that Pantone wanted to give was, hey, we're still living. We survived. Now, let's fast forward to today. The color of the year for 2026, Cloud Dancer, white. But what does that signal about the economy as we go into 2026? My first theory is that Pantone chose this color because they intentionally wanted to play it safe. Cloud Dancer, or white, let's just call it what it is, it goes with everything. It's a safe investment. It's timeless. It won't go out of style if you can't afford to replace it. And it's almost invisible. It draws no attention. My second theory goes back to what Pantone called a canvas for creativity. It could also be a post-recession reset, or like the turn to minimalism after the 2008 housing crisis. And theory number 3 is it signals we tired. After Viva Magenta, which was bold, and Peach Fuzz in 2024, which was warm, Cloud Dancer really just equals rest, restfulness, taking a break, just quiet, low energy. Economic exhaustion from inflation and economic crisis. My read is that Cloud Dancer, or white, I'm going to keep calling it white, is just a recession signal disguised as optimism. It's Pantone saying, play it safe, don't stand out, conserve your resources. That doesn't sound like boom energy to me. That sounds like caution. So now let's talk a little bit about the progression of fashion since the pandemic. To understand where we are now, we have to look at how fashion has evolved since 2020. The progression is what tells the economic story. From 2020 to 2021, athleisure was dominant. We were locked down, we were working from home, we were literally in survival mode. We didn't know what this pandemic was going to bring. We didn't know what was going to come out on the other side. So we were just stuck in the house trying to figure this all out. We were wearing sweatshirts and hoodies. It truly was comfort above all else. From 2021 to 2022, quiet luxury emerged. We returned to real clothes, but it was real subtle. It was logoless. It was neutral color palettes. It was brands like The Row, Loro Piana, that whole idea of stealth wealth. The truth is we were recovering. A lot of people had stimulus checks. There was holds on paying bills, paying rent. So people kind of felt like they had a little bit of abundance. There was some folks that was receiving funds from that PPP loan. But what was really happening was inflation was rising and the wealth gap was getting wider. What we were saying with our clothes was, I have a little bit of money, but I don't want to flaunt it. Then we moved into 2023, where it was all about maximalism. That's where we saw the Valentino Pink show, where every look in the show was that vibrant, bright pink. I swear the red carpets were a frenzy with pieces from that collection. It was loud, it was colorful, it was bold. We also got that Gucci twin show where everything was maximalist, and it was times two. And what was actually happening was there was starting to be a little bit of an economic decline. Inflation was at its peak, but people wanted to feel good. It was almost like another form of escapism and trying to emotionally cope with color and pattern. Then we move into 2024 where maximalism started to fade and it started to become about easy dressing again. Inflation is starting to ease, but prices are still high as heck. Rent is going up. Insurance premiums are going up. But you know what's not going up? Our paychecks. And now we move into 2025 and 2026, where we are now. And Pantone chooses Cloud Dancer as the color of the year. The economic climate is really just, I know I use the word uncertainty, but it's like, is it getting better? Is it not getting better? Tariffs are happening. Major layoffs are happening. It's almost like we're getting mixed signals. Are we okay or are we not okay? I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm okay. And I think there's a little bit of a pattern here. When there's crisis, we had athleisure. Then we had this cautious recovery, quiet luxury. Then we had an attempt at joy, what brought us maximalism. Then there was kind of like this exhaustion of easy dressing. And now we're at Cloud Dancer. Could that signal preparation? What are we preparing for? Let's take a step back and talk about some of the trends that we're seeing. I can't talk about fashion trends of 2025 without addressing the quarter zip trend. If you've been on TikTok lately, you've seen it. This trend started from one Black young man who decided to make a video about how he was trading in his Nike Tech for a quarter zip. The trend took like wildfire for young men, teenagers, even down to preteens, and even young professionals. These young men are deliberately choosing looks that are more polished. They look more professional. It signals that I'm ready to be taken seriously. I'm ready to start filling out those college applications. I'm ready for those internships, and I'm ready to enter the workforce. The quarter zip has become the uniform for I'm ready for the world. Here's what I think this signals economically. This generation is watching their older siblings struggle with student loan debt. They're struggling with high rent, and they're struggling with a brutal job market. They're opting into professional dress codes early because the truth is they need every advantage that they can get. The shift from streetwear to office ready already shows how young men 16 to 17 are already strategizing for economic survival. This could also signal the death of youth carefree fashion. Streetwear and athleisure tended to be about rebellion, individuality, flex culture. When teenagers start dressing like junior analysts, that's a big red flag about how this generation views our economic future. Women are wearing ties again and full-on suits. Justin Timberlake, suit and tie. Ties with dresses, ties with shirts, ties with bustiers. Anywhere the girls can add a tie, they're using these ties as statement pieces. When I think of this sort of suit and tie aesthetic, I think about the 1980s power suiting. I feel like in fashion over time, there's always been sort of sprinkles of it here and there, but it's really come back in a big way in 2025. In 1980, the reason why women were wearing power suits was because they wanted to adopt this masculine sort of persona to show that they can compete with men. At that time, there was a recession, then there was a boom, and then there was a crash. Now, I think a couple of things are happening. One, if I am going back to the office or if I am running businesses, I want to look authoritative. Two, with all the layoffs happening, maybe I want to wear a full suit because I want to look indispensable. But again, to me, that reads defensive, recession behavior. Next, let's talk about this trend of monochromatic dressing. I'm sure you guys are seeing all over the fashion pages this idea of sort of like head to toe color dressing. So some of the colors that we're seeing is wine, that wine red, chocolate has been sort of this chocolate brown has been a huge trend. And the ladies are wearing it from head to toe, from a brown top to a brown pant, to brown tights, to brown shoes, to a brown bag. Where I see some historical fashion parallels is in the 90s when everyone was wearing all black and gray because everything was minimalist, and in 2008 when that minimalism sort of came back. What I think it signals now is decision fatigue. One color is easy. It also looks expensive even if it's not. Something about having a tone-on-tone look just completely elevates a look. It's also timeless. It won't go out of style. So what's the big picture? Spoiler alert, I already started throwing those words out. It's all about easy dressing. Quarter zips, easy. Take me seriously. Monochromatic dressing, easy. Just pick the same color head to toe. Wearing suits and ties, easy. You already have the formula. Cloud dancer, easy. But in this context, the easy dressing isn't about convenience. It's about survival. This trend cycle is really telling us that we're anxious. Gen Z is dressing for employability at 16. Millennial women are wearing suits, dressed for longevity and versatility. Fashion that requires no thought saves my energy for other important things. We got bigger fish to fry. We're not just conserving money, we're conserving energy. Neutral colors equals more outfit combinations with fewer pieces. There's this professional, casual, hybrid thing that's happening where it's one wardrobe for multiple contexts. And let's just be real, when you don't know what's coming, you dress so that you could be ready for anything. Now, the question that I think the fashion community once answered, if maximalism was the victory lap of a bull market, why did we pivot back so hard back to this? Here's what's fascinating. Back in 2023, we wanted maximalism. We wanted more. We wanted Barbiecore. We wanted Valentino pink. We wanted the maximalism that Alessandro brought to Gucci. We were excited about that. Bright colors, bold patterns, fabric mixing. Designers pushed it. Influencers wore it. But it didn't stick. By 2024, we were back to neutrals. What happened? I have some theories for that too. Number one, maybe we just couldn't afford it. We thought we had a little bit of money with our stimulus checks, but when reality set in and the market corrected itself, it was a reminder that maybe we needed to sit back down. Maximalism requires buying new colors, new patterns, new trends, new silhouettes. Neutrals, on the other hand, can be reworn, remixed. The economic reality caught up with that whole idea of the maximalist desires. My second theory, we really weren't that optimistic. Maximalism requires real joy, real excitement. We wanted to feel joyful, but underneath it all, I think we were still all suffering from anxiety. You can't fake that feeling during a real economic crisis. And theory number 3 is just society really just wasn't ready. If you think about it, maximalists wearing bold colors and bold patterns almost feels a little tone deaf when people are still struggling. And I know for me, if I'm honest, I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired. I'm out here working these multiple businesses and I need things that I can grab quickly and easily. I don't have the time to put much thought in it because I have to work 10 times as hard as I did 10 years ago. And let's not forget, Pantone did say that the choice of Cloud Dancer was all about a canvas of creativity. So should we be optimistic? Is this an opportunity for us to wipe the slate clean? 2026 is a 1 year. If you add up 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6, that gives you 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So maybe 2026 is about a fresh start. Maybe after we rest, after we prepare, and after we conserve, then we'll be ready for the next boom, the next color explosion, the next maximalist moment. But right now, we're in the pale beige before the storm phase. Oh, that rhymed. Pale beige before the storm phase. I'm always going to be an MC, y'all. Could it be that fashion's telling us something's coming? We just don't know what it is. So the next time you see any one of these trends and you start to question why this is trending, think about fashion as an economic indicator. Right now, we're dressing for caution. In my opinion, the reason why Pantone chose Cloud Dancer or white, let's just be real, I think it's because it's truly what we need right now. What do you guys think? Do you think Cloud Dancer is a recession signal or a fresh start? A creative reset? Drop your take in the comments and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. As I continue to drop videos about fashion and the retail business and my humble opinion. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.